Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Evelyn of Pink Sheep Design, and today we are here to talk about a new product that I got to try out. So I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys, and that is the Lumos Lumos Knitting Light. So I was contacted by this company to try out their light, and I was super excited too because I don't have anything like this. I do tend to crochet at night in front of the TV. My husband actually bought me a floor lamp that's kind of directed LED light. So we have this floor lamp that comes up over the back of the couch, and I can kind of direct it on me so that there's not a glare on the TV and he doesn't have to have a ton of light where he's sitting. So this is perfect. Like I said, I have not tried like a headlamp when I'm crocheting. I don't have anything like this. So it's been really fun to try out. So I wanted to go over really quick because this is really fun. So we've got the Lumos Lumos, and then if you flip it, it says, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. Albus Dumbledore. So if you were a Harry Potter fan already, this is hitting close to home in the heart. So the box does tell you on the back. So if we flip this over, you can see there's some information on the back there, and it says what's in the box: Lumos Knitting Light, charging cord, and a simplified user guide. And it says Lumos Knitting Light was designed with the aim to make all yarn crafters feel comfortable with their projects, including knitting, crocheting, lace making, appliquing, embroidery, sewing, tatting, tassel making, and many more that we couldn't fit here. And then it says, don't forget to share a photo using hashtag Lumos Lumos for a chance to be featured. And then they have all of their things there on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, and Twitter, according to the back of the box. Now, it also says if you have any questions or comments or concerns, they do have an email listed. So I do see an email listed here. Now, they were also very quick to get back to me on social media. I sent them messages back and forth when we were talking about this light. So it does seem that they are a company that is going to be responsive. Now, I have not had an issue with this light, which is a good thing. But when it comes to customer service, it seems like they're a pretty responsive company. So inside the box, which I've already unwrapped everything. So the only thing that was actually in here were the user guide. And then we've got, yeah, the user guide is literally this one little page. This is a very, very, very simple tool to use. So this says Lumos Knitting Light Simplified User Guide. There's not any more information on the front of this except for the icons for their social media networks. And on the back, it has 4 steps. So plug the charging cord into charge. It's fully charged when the red power indicator light turns green. And then you've got press the buttons on each head to turn on the lights. Press the buttons again to change the color temperature, but then you can also press and hold the button to adjust brightness. So that's the 4 things. And then it says tips and tricks. There are so many things to learn about Lumos Knitting Light. We decided we better make a special page for it. Learn more about the Lumos Knitting Light and its features by visiting our exclusive page. And the page is down here. And it just says lumoslumos.com/tips. You can also scan a QR code. It's got another very simple 1-page back and front user manual that just has the specifications for the battery capacity, voltage, brightness, LED quantity, and things like that. It's also got the how to use and charging and tips. Okay, so what you get when you open this box is the actual light. So we've got this here, the actual light, and you can already see it's very, very bendable. I can hear, well, I don't know, but sometimes when I change it, I can like hear a crackling, but I have a feeling they've got protective pieces over the cords for when you're doing that. It's really not all that heavy. I don't know if it has a weight, but I'm going to go ahead and weigh it really quick because I've got my scale out. So let's see how heavy this is. Okay. So it looks like it is about 3.4 ounces. but it's not, it doesn't feel heavy. I have used it for a couple of hours around my neck, and I do not have neck strain from it, which is great. The top of it has more information about the voltage and all of that. And then it's very, very simple. So we've got these pieces here. You've got the light with the button on the back. Same thing on this side. Each one has its own button. And then when you turn it on, you can see it's going to be hard to really see the actual light, but it will change color temperatures. So you've got these two bulbs. One is a white light, one is a yellow light. You can either turn them both on at the same time, which is the first button. And then, here we go. Both of them turn on. And then when I click it again, it turns the yellow light on only. And when I click it again, it's more of the blue/white light only. And then I click it again and it turns off. Now, if I click and hold, it's going to change the temperature brightness. Now, that is kind of hard to see on here, but it does like a gradual fade, and then it'll pop back to the brightest of the settings. There we go. So let me put this on. And like I said, it seems to me to be pretty comfortable. Now, the only thing I could see is it is pretty wide. I think that's to allow people who have different size necks to also feel comfortable wearing this. But that does mean that it could slide around depending on what you are wearing. I found it helpful to actually wear something with a hoodie. So that the hood can come up over it through this part, which widened out the section of my neck holding the light, which helped the light stay in place. Now, while we talk about the rest of this stuff, I did want to move these so that you could see once I get them in place, that they seem to stay in place. So I did use this watching a show a couple of hours at night. I had no issue with these lights drooping. So once I put them in place, it did seem as though they were going to stay that way. Now, over time, I don't know if that kind of elasticity of them staying in place will remain the same, but so far, very, very happy with that. I also have to say the light is very, very directed. So, I don't crochet in total darkness. You know, I mean, sometimes it'll be in the afternoon and our living room doesn't get a ton of light. And so I will have to turn on like my overhead lamp. And obviously the overhead light causes glare. If I open the window, sometimes that causes glare. And so this is really great, even if I'm not crocheting in the dark, just to see my stitches better. So if you're working with a darker colored yarn or a yarn that's more difficult to work with, so like a faux fur, just having something that is very, very directed on the stitches that you're working on can be extremely helpful. So the other thing that you are going to get in your kit is this cord. Now, you do not get a wall plug. Okay, so that is something to keep in mind. You're just going to get this USB plug. Now, the good news is a lot of charging, you know, people have side tables, like our bedside tables have USB plugs. So you may not even need a wall charger. If you're at home, you may have that integrated into your furniture or your wall plates. I know there are wall plates that have USB charging plugs. This is an older version. I can't remember what it's called. It's not the lightning adapter. I'll show you guys. So this is what it looks like. I believe it's the same. I don't think it's the same as my phone anymore, but it used to be. So it was like an older phone charger. If you had like a Samsung, that's what it reminds me of. It does say, so I have a bunch of these old wall chargers from old phones, but I just realized, and I'm glad I saw this, but it does say that it is not recommended that you use QC 2.0 or 3.0 quick charging. And I'm pretty sure that what I used was quick charging. So I need to look at the rest of my adapter plugs, because this does say adaptive fast charging. And it sounds like you don't want to use fast charging plugs. So keep that in mind. Let me make sure that so they have 3 levels of brightness. if you do the click and hold, it'll cycle through 3 levels of brightness, and then it'll turn off and turn back on to that brightest level. I did plug this into charge, and when I plugged it in, now when I received this in the mail, it worked. So it already had a charge when I got it in the mail, but I did decide to go ahead and charge it all the way up just to see how long it took. I feel like it took at least an hour to fully charge. I did not time it. I should have. But I feel like I went in and just kind of watched TV for a little while, but I wanted to wait for the light to turn green. It did turn green, and I used it for a while. Now, I have not used it until it ran out, but like I said, it's still working now. I have not charged it since that first charge, and I worked with it for at least a couple of hours. So it seems like it's a pretty long-lasting charge. And I will have to continue playing around with it because I'd be interested to see, I'm turning all the way through all the cycles, but I'd be interested to see if it runs out of charge, if it will work when you plug it in. You know, so if you were traveling and you were able to sit next to, you know, maybe you had it on a plane and you were using it on the plane, but then it ran out of juice and you got to where you were going and you wanted to go ahead and use it, can you plug it in and use it plugged in? I would think the answer would be yes, but I have not gotten a chance to try that yet. Let's make sure I have not forgotten anything. It does say, please charge the light full before the first time you use it. So even if it comes with a little bit of charge, go ahead and plug it in and charge it all the way up. Please recharge the light as soon as possible once it becomes dim. And also, please charge the light at least once a month. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So overall, first thought, I know I'm going to use this. It's extremely helpful, obviously, to have that directed light, to not have something on my head. I know a lot of people say to use headlamps, but I feel like that also encourages you to look down, whereas this, you can kind of keep your work a little bit higher up in front of you. If you were working at a table, this could be directed at the table, so you could direct it up a little bit more. And like I said, so far, it does seem to stay in place. So trying to move around a little bit. They may sag a little if you're like jumping around, but it really does seem like they're going to hold their place. So I hope you enjoyed this review. And if you have questions, please pop them in the comments. I'd be more than happy to answer them. Please hit the thumbs up if you liked this button. And I mean, if you like this video, and subscribe. And until next time, happy hooking!